So you have to list out all your favorite games.
Hundreds a lot you thought, but there's no room to waste.
Even if you ponder it so very long, someone on the internet will tell you you're wrong.
Top 100 games
From the A to Z.
Top 100 games. Watch a timeline stream. Top 100 games. You'll enjoy it too. Hello, everybody. Welcome out to the Dice Tower's Top 100 list. My name is Chris Yi.
I'm Cannaday.
I'm Wendy Yi.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
And we have been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
And your roof needs to be replaced.
Oh, I haven't got that one.
No?
No, roof replaced. No.
What
That's
are
more
the-
like knocking on your door.
What are the scams are?
over the
Oh,
phone.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
big dogs. No one really.
Insurance fraud.
They like knocking.
Oh, yeah.
Run,
yeah.
run. Yeah.
You have a
Dogs,
package. You need to sign into our website and put in all of your credentials so that we can get your information.
Also, the IRS needs to talk to you
We're going to
right
install
now,
mini blinds.
or you're going to jail.
I don't know. This is weird.
Or we could do our top 100.
Okay, fine.
That sounds more fun.
We'll do our top 100. Today we're doing number 71, or 70, through 61. That was really smooth on my part.
Yeah.
Smooth criminal right there.
So last time I mentioned that almost all of my games were new to my list before. Someone had asked, Wendy and I had done our top 100 4 years ago, just on our own podcast. This chunk of games, 8 of them are ones that were on my list before.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting a little more consistent from you.
I don't know, it's just kind of bouncing,
Yeah.
you know,
For whatever
hither and
reason, that-
thither.
This chunk.
This chunk? Yeah, I really like this chunk. I also like saying the word chunk.
Prepare for
I approve
old
of
school.
chunks.
Are these
Prepare for the
chunky
chunk.
game pieces in your chunk of games?
No, a lot of them
Not
are
so much?
actually, a lot of them are fairly minimalistic, piece-wise. Any trends in yours? Anything, just general excitement that you have?
I think mine has a lot of crossover from what we've already said, and if it hasn't already crossed over with someone, it probably will. It's a
Crossover.
very
My games are fun.
I don't know that I will have any. I don't think I'll have crossovers with y'all today.
Any.
But I don't know that any of these games will ever cross over with y'all.
Yeah, you have 10 versions of Monopoly. Why don't we get started with number 70?
Just ignore it.
All right, so my number 70 is one of the two ones that's new to my list. Actually, both of the games that are new to my top 100 list this time
Oh.
are Reiner Knizia games.
Oh, Mike would be so happy.
Mike is going to be very
If
disappointed.
only he were here.
Only he was 10
You know.
feet away.
He's going to be very disappointed with my highest one. My second highest Reiner Knizia game that's on my top 100 list is a dice game called Escape.
Oh.
Z taught this one to me
Yeah.
on the cruise just at the beginning of the year or so. I played this a bunch of times because it's one of those you can just keep kind of playing over and over
Yeah,
again. You roll dice as a bit of a push your luck thing as you want to try and make the highest dice combo possible. But if you roll an X after your first roll, you bust. You don't get anything. But you're trying to make these combos of dice and put them onto this track so that you can move 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5 spaces. If you roll a really high number, you can go up higher because you're not going to get bumped off. But also, if you roll high, you can go underneath the other players and then bump them off if they have a lower number than you. It's ridiculous that this is a game. It's really just like a roll dice and then see what happens. You can push your luck a little bit. And then it's also kind of push your luck where you put it on the track. I want to move 3 spaces or 4 spaces. But it's so engaging because you're just constantly watching other people and you're sitting there going like, fail, fail, fail.
Yeah.
Oh no, you rolled really high. You want to go high? Don't bump me off. Don't bump me off. Yes, you went high. I'm going to bump you off on my next roll. It's so fun. It's so dumb, but it's great. And it's getting reprinted soon as Rapido. So
Rapido.
this is one of those games I played it once and I was like, I'm buying a copy of this game. Oh, it's wildly out of print. Oh, it's
He's good at that, right? You actually taught me this game as well, and I think you used the word engaging. I think that's what it was, because you're always like, oh, rooting against people, but at different points of the game, I think we did a 4-player game, I think.
Yeah.
And at different points of the game, one of us was in the lead, but one of us was also like really far behind at some point, so it was a real push
all
and
over
pull
the
to
place,
it, right?
yeah.
Which I thought was really good. That you always felt like you were in it. You know,
Yeah.
you were always again engaged was a really good word for it.
And then sometimes you roll double twos and you just get to move your marker 2 spaces and you're like, oh, that was cool. I was in last. I rolled double twos again. Like,
Right. Yeah.
it's just always exciting.
Right.
So that's my
Yeah.
number 70, Escape.
Good
pick.
stuff.
Good pick.
Awesome.
Good pick. All right, my number 70 is a new game, actually. It is Planet Unknown. This is a,
That is
oh my gosh, I'm blanking
real
on the
new.
word. Real new.
Polynomial?
Polynomial?
Polynomial.
No, you're not helpful at all.
Polyhedron. Continue.
Where you have your planet in front of you, and you are selecting from tiles in the middle in order to put them out and trying to complete the grid on your planet, and you want to complete as many rows and columns as possible. But you also have different objectives that you're trying to get as you have a hovercraft and you are moving it through the board to pick up different satellites, to invoke special powers and things like that as you run up these tracks, Chris. There's tracks.
There's tracks and hovercrafts.
Tracks and hovercrafts. Have you played this one yet?
I have not yet.
You have not? Oh, okay. I think you would like this one.
This game just came out.
It did.
Like, holy smokes.
I didn't even think it was
did.
going to be like able to be considered. It's
I know
that
this.
new.
I will say this one is one that I considered and then stopped considering because it's so new, and then I put it back on because again, it's my list and I can do what I want.
Cult of the
So, Cult
now.
of the Great Game.
Cult of the Camilla.
That is what I am. Cult of the Great Game. My number 70 is Planet Unknown.
Even with that cover, it's not exactly a good-looking cover.
I mean, but it's got a lot of
It's
color.
space, though.
It's poppy, you know.
It's got a lot of color.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, for a space.
I really want to
And
play
it has
this game.
explosions.
Yeah.
You haven't played this either? Oh,
It just came out. Like, what are you talking about?
Ketchupalooza
I
on a
played
brand
it like
new
3
game.
times.
Done.
So, you know.
I'm pretty sure we got this in last week.
Ketchupalooza. I don't think we can do a Ketchupalooza. No,
On a
it wasn't
brand
last
new
week. It
game.
was
You
like,
went, you're a time traveler.
A month
You
ago.
went and played it, and then put it on your
it's a
list
great
in the
game.
past.
It's my list. It's number 70 and not up for debate.
I think Camilla just knows a guy.
I do.
That's what I'm saying. All right, my number 70 is a crossover, as many of these are. This is Micro Macro.
Yeah.
What more can I say?
I played this
He has
last
something
night.
to say now.
Oh my goodness,
Welcome to the
Kate.
In
conversation.
between the two
Ooh.
numbers, I have played the game.
First thoughts on this game?
I really enjoyed it. I played it with Ruthie, and we had a blast. It was just, we went through several of the missions. First, I played the mission on the box, because you can actually play on the outside of the
Yeah.
box. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, find who killed the
yeah.
hamburger stand guy, and like, you go through that, and that was really fun. And I'm like, okay, this game is extremely simple to play. It's a blast. It gives you that Where's Waldo feel, but cooperatively, you know?
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out the murder mystery, and it's like, oh, we went over here. Oh, he's over there now. Oh, crap, he went to the subway. Where's he at now? He's on the other side of the map. You know, it's fun.
It's
a lot of
so
fun.
cool. I love that this game grows with you and it teaches you. You start in a very small location and you're like, okay, all around here, oh, I have to look at so much in this tiny area, but oh, I found it. And then the next game, they like expand out, and then suddenly you're like hopping through subway stations. You're like, where's the other subway station? I can't
Right.
find it. Where's this
Yeah.
vehicle across the map? I love that it just expands and it grows, and there's so much going on. And there's times where you're like, you see this murder every single time you play this game. You're like, I see this person dead. I wonder if this is going to be
Yeah,
in the
for sure.
storyline somewhere.
Right,
And then
yeah.
it is, and you're like, oh yeah, I finally get to find out why this person is sitting on the edge of the shore, like dead.
Why are there so many dead people all over this city?
it's
It is
called-
definitely a crime city.
It's called Crime City. Don't
It is.
move there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Crime City.
I-
They didn't exactly hide it.
I really badly. I know Pegasus Spiel. They're a great company, but they don't do a lot of like IP stuff. I would love a Batman Gotham City version
Wow.
of this. That would make my year.
That'd be cool.
Powers
There's
that
just
be.
Batman's
there it is.
everywhere.
No, it's gonna happen. Watch
Just
it.
Batman.
So yeah, that is my number 70. Is Micro Macro.
Amazing. My number 70 is another area control game, but
like
this
these.
is Lords of Hellas. This is one where you're basically taking over different areas. There's a bunch of different ways to win the game. You can win the game by fighting off monsters. You can win the game by taking over different temples or having enough temples built. You can win the game by taking over certain areas on the board. You can win the game by questing and things like that. There's a ton of different ways to actually win the game, but it's all about like building up and controlling different areas and taking over stuff and getting a little bit of more units out on the board. And I really enjoyed the troops on the map feel of this game. But I do know that this game is definitely going to be replaced like entirely by Lords of Ragnarok when it comes out.
I was gonna ask.
So this is kind of like a little bit of a placeholder right now because I like both games, but I feel like Lords of Ragnarok does everything this does, but a little bit more streamlined. So I feel like that's going to take its place in a bit, but I still really enjoy Lords of Hellas and the choices you get to make in the game, and the fact that it has varying win conditions. I feel like I played this game and like won it like 3 of the different win conditions, and I was just like.
And you only played it twice. It was really weird.
I played it 3 times. But no, it's a lot of fun. I really like Lords of Hellas. So.
I'd like to try this one.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes.
And it's got those crazy miniatures that Awakened Realms is known for. So with the sun drop and all that stuff, good looking stuff.
Oh yeah.
Look at it.
So my number 70, Lords of Hellas.
All right, so kicking off number 69 is this is as Euro-y of a Euro game as you get. This was once number 26 on my list 4 years ago. This game's called Clans of Caledonia. I really like this one. It has a nice, serene Scottish setting. You're playing a game that's clearly inspired by Terra Mystica, Gaia Project kind of things. The designer, I forget how to pronounce his name, Juma Juju, maybe? Very blatantly in his design diary said this was inspired a lot by Terra Mystica. You build stuff off of your player boards, it goes out onto the map, you unveil more income. I really love that mechanism. This is my favorite of this type of game, I think. There's a lot going on, but there's also a really fantastic economic market where as you produce goods and as you buy goods, the price of them goes up, and as you sell them, the price of them goes down. And so there's really cool moments where you can just kind of take advantage. Like, I was going to build this cow out, but, Camilla dropped the price on this, and Wendy dropped the price on that. So I'm going to buy these goods while they're cheap, use them to fulfill contracts instead of just growing my own stuff. So there's just a lot of give and take with what are you going to pursue in this. And I think it just plays really smoothly. It looks cool. It looks good, right?
It looks not beige.
It looks not beige.
It does look green, though.
Very
Very
green.
adequate.
The
It's because it's all about the green.
I think the covers, it's Clemens Franzi artwork, but when you see it out on the table, it's more colorful and it pops.
Right.
And so I really like my number 69, Clans of Caledonia.
It is very economic-y. I really enjoy that market of just the selling of goods and stuff.
And that
So good.
fluctuation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. My number 69 is a 2-player only game, and it is Roma. So, counteracting the Cult of the New on my last choice, this is Roma. And this is a dice, I guess, placement kind of game. You have the 6 different stations out, and you are rolling dice on your turn and playing those out to activate those stations. And as the cards that are, you play cards in front of each of those stations, which will be activated. And some of those cards will give you income, some of it will give you points, and some will activate other cards or give you special powers. And so through this game, you're just rolling the dice and trying to figure out how to place them to maybe attack your opponent and get rid of some of their cards, destroy some of their cards that are helping them win, or earn your money, or ultimately get points. And it's, until the points run out, there's a certain number of points. Once those are all distributed, whoever has the most wins. So there's a nice push and pull to it as well as you are building up your city tableau out in front of you and trying to combo those powers together, again with your dice roll, which is random, but then it's up to you, how you're going to play it out. And so it's a lot of fun. I really like the push and pull of this. Again, that 2-player game, it's how you set up those combos down at the bottom and making sure that you're triggering at the right point, and which card you're going to put where that might trigger more often, things like that. And I really, really enjoy Roma. It's pretty simple to pick up again, and 2-player only.
This must be a good game because this doesn't look like a Camilla
I
pick.
know,
Yeah.
right? Yes, this one surprised me when I played it.
Yeah, Stefan Feld, very tan.
Yes.
Very.
My first play, I was like, I didn't go into it when I saw it because, again, shallow gamer, as you accused me accurately of yesterday.
You're self-proclaimed. Let's be honest.
So I think Mike said it to me first. That's okay. But yeah, so I was like, all right, played. And I was like, oh, that was interesting. Played it again immediately right after. And I was like, okay, I really like this. And ever since then, it's just kind of been on my mind, quite a bit. And it's like I really like that aspect of it. Again, that just the push and pull, and that I'm a fan of that randomness. But then this isn't mitigating the randomness, but using the randomness as best you can.
Gotcha.
Is something I really enjoy doing. So my number 69 is Roma.
Okay.
Nice. My number 69 is another crossover with Chris and Camilla. It is a lightweight dinosaur game. Can you guess what it is?
Lightweight
Does it
Draftosaurus.
rhyme with
100%.
Braftogloris?
100% Draftosaurus. This game is, I feel like it's at the weight of a roll and write game. Like, it's very simple. And what you do is you have a handful of dinosaur meeples, which are adorable and cute, and you are drafting one, passing them around, placing them in your park, and hoping that some of them are friends and some of them don't like each other. And T-Rexes, can't play nicely with other people very well.
buddies.
Just
Come on.
It's such a happy little park. I love the board. I love that it's dual-sided and that both sides do slightly different things. But it's just a fun, sweet little filler that is just absolutely great. And we've said so much good stuff about it already.
Yeah.
But yeah, Draftosaurus, adorable, fun, lightweight, great.
But we haven't addressed that spittle on the cover.
Oh,
spittle,
man. Yeah, that Rex
That's
is
The dude seems so okay with it, too. He's just
so
like,
okay. Yeah. He's even got a selfie
getting
stick.
nasty.
Right.
Makes for a good picture.
It does.
I mean,
Yeah.
great picture. Definitely.
It's great.
Get a little bit of on your camera lens, though. It could cause a problem.
The only thing this game needs is goats. Just goats to eventually, every once in a while be like, there you go.
Feed them.
Yeah.
Jump up, little buddy.
Very Jurassic Park, thank you. So does my number 69, Draftosaurus.
My number 69 is kind of like more of a nostalgic pick, but also a game that kind of helped me get into when I started playing modern board games. I got really enamored with cooperative games. This is Arkham Horror. I love Arkham Horror, and this is the 3rd edition here. I played all sorts of different editions of Arkham Horror, and I really enjoyed it. So 2nd edition in the picture there as well. But 2nd edition is kind of what got me into the hobby. And I played it a ton. I've played it with crazy expansions and a crazy number of people. We used to have a blast just playing this over and over and over again. And 3rd edition is amazing as well. I think it's a game that kind of people think about Mansions of Madness, or they think about some of the other Arkham Files games, but 3rd edition kind of, I think, got swept under the rug a little bit. And 3rd edition has a lot of interesting choices in it, and takes some of the stuff from the card games and from Mansions of Madness and adds it all together and makes it for a really intriguing and exciting game. But just Arkham Horror in general, I really enjoy 2nd edition and 3rd. Basically just because the nostalgia that I have for the system and the universe and things like that. I just enjoy the cooperative nature of it. It's kind of random, it's kind of crazy, but you're still working together to try to overcome those baddies and take them out. So
I have a lot of
Take
affinity
those
for this
baddies down.
line of games, because when we were getting into the hobby, Eldritch was the new one, and so and then there's a whole family of these games.
Yes.
And there's a lot
I love the artwork too. I wish that the art on the cards was bigger, because when you play some of their apps, like if you play the Elder Sign app, they have a lot of the same kind of art styles, and you can see them so much bigger, and they're
Right.
just so cool.
Right.
yeah, this was
Yeah.
my first dabble in the mythos or whatever. And I mean, there's so many games that have spawned off of Arkham Horror and like building that up. I guess it started with the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game and stuff like that, but that just kind of made all these different games come out, and it's just interesting because it's not regular horror, but it's this weird, twisted, cosmic horror stuff,
Right.
which I actually kind of enjoy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I like it a lot. I played a lot of Eldritch Horror. I haven't played Arkham Horror though. So
but yeah, and that is my number 69, Arkham Horror.
All right, my number 68 is, interestingly enough, Elder Sign.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is happening too often. I'm
don't
just
know.
saying.
Collusion.
Arkham Horror, the
right?
dice
I think
game.
there's a rat in the room.
This is basically, this is the Arkham Horror line of games, but as a little dice game. I really like this one. We played it for a terribly long time as just the app. We would sit on the couch together and play I think the app is really fantastic. It does what Wendy just mentioned. It blows up the art bigger.
It's so pretty.
Some of the art is really evocative and creepy in this game. I love it. And then we've been playing the physical version a lot more recently. Our daughter can play this one with us, and it's not too difficult because you mostly just match die faces to different events and stuff. I like it a lot. I think it's kind of like what you said. It's a little bit of nostalgia because we have just years of having played this, and I like teaching it to our daughter. And she gets an introduction to a little bit of spookiness, a little bit of horror type stuff without it being really actually scary. You're like, oh, a cultist showed up. She's like, oh no, But
I really
I don't know what a cultist is.
yeah.
I really like the way the dice in this feels like press your luck a little bit as you're trying to figure out can I go a little bit further? Oh, I gotta get rid of a die. Can I go a little bit further? I don't know. Just the cooperative nature of it, of trying to okay, I'm gonna stay here so that way you can come and help me. That sort of thing is just really fun.
I'm kind of surprised more games haven't used this mechanism. The rulebook actually attributes it to Reiner Knizia because of Age of War / Risk Express. And it's so fun. I'm surprised more games haven't used this including X-Men themed games.
So you're
That
saying
is
could have
supposed to be
used this.
exactly the same as this game.
So you're
but
saying the
weren't.
first 3 games are Rainier Knizia games on your list? Is that what you're saying now?
Oh, that's
Well, I didn't do
essentially.
Clans of Caledonia.
Oh, you're right,
I have
right.
another
No.
one coming up, though.
Okay.
But anyway, that's my 68 Elder Sign.
Nice.
My number 68 is a small little game, and it is beautiful. It is floriferous. And floriferous,
This is pretty.
It is so pretty, and flowers are not really my thing.
I love flowers.
Okay, see, like flowers, gardening, not really my thing, but this one is just so pretty and very, again, goes back to that game that I said yesterday, that's just very relaxing, you know, when you play it. And this one, there's a tableau of, how old it is. I know there's 5 by 5,
4?
5 by 5.
5 by
Depending on
5.
player
5
count,
by 5,
too,
5 by
yeah.
Okay, then we're going to do 5 by 5. Anyway, there's 5 by 5, but it's played over
I know.
3 rounds. Each round is you go through each of the 5 rows, and you will choose one card, you know, from the top to bottom of that. I'm sorry, not a row, a column. And each person will go, and depending on where you choose is who gets to choose for the next turn as well. And what I really like about this game is going into it, there are no scoring. There's no way to score, so you're also setting up your own scoring. So it's this open draft system where you choose a card and you're kind of trying to balance, like, all right, I really want this card in the next row, so I want to get maybe a lesser card this turn so that I can go first next turn, so that I can combo this with my scoring, or, you know, and so it's very light, and you play over each of the columns, and then you redo the tableau and play backwards, and then one more time. So you play over 3 rounds. That way, building up your own way to score and building up your little floral bouquet. I don't know. What do you call them? What do you
Your
call them?
floraliferous.
Your garden?
floral
Your
garden
flower garden?
thing. Your flower garden. There it is.
There you go.
So yeah, I just Wendy, fill me in on the theme here. Like I said, flowers are not really my thing, but it's so pretty and it's so just relaxing. I really, really have enjoyed my plays of this.
The King Domino turn order thing is what I think makes this game
Yes.
so brilliant.
It does.
It's
yes.
okay to borrow a mechanism from another
Yes.
game, like Elder Sign dice rolling, and then make a whole other game around
Right.
it, which is what I think
Yeah.
this one does
And
really
again,
well.
it's accessible, and so it is. I mean, I don't know if there's anything brand new in this game, you know, because even the create your scoring based on the sets you get, you know, is not
Yeah.
a new mechanism either. But those two things together in this really pretty theme, it's just relaxing. It's engaging. It's a little bit, you know, a little bit of that having to be engaged on other people's turns as
Right.
well, and that push your luck, like I really want that card, so do I take this lesser card, or do I wait, or do I be aggressive, or do I hate draft, or, you know, there's just so much going on in such a straightforward game and a unique blend of mechanisms.
It's very Camilla-ism, like, oh, this beautiful game of flowers. I want to be
I want
aggressive.
that one!
Hate draft.
Chris will not have the daisy. So yeah, my number 68 is floriferous.
That's lovely. You know what I love about flowers? I love learning how, like, they all have different shapes and size of seeds. And just looking at the flower, I don't necessarily go like, oh, this is the type of seeds it makes. I don't know. I just find that really fascinating. The way they do it. That's all. Chris is staring at me in a weird way.
Is this a segue into your next pick?
No, it has nothing to do
I
with this game.
know, I was thinking of games.
I
I
was
was,
just
like, she's
like-
already done genotype though. So
Yeah.
No, no. It's just
You know what I love?
literally
Flowers.
telling you
Anyway.
about flowers. That's all.
Okay, we're just,
No, my
all
number
right.
6,
D8.
D8, is, thank you. My number 68 actually has nothing to do with flowers, has nothing to do with anything beautiful. In fact, it's a very ugly economic game, and that is Power Grid. This box is not winning any art awards, that's for sure.
When I first saw this game, I thought it was from like the 50s.
It is.
And I
kidding.
still am not sure if it's not.
Yeah, it's not lovely. It kind of looks like
kidding, I know
Ticket to
it's not.
Ride, but it's way more economic. So what you're doing is, in this game, you are bidding for power plants. So you're doing an auction kind of thing for power plants. Then you have power plants, and you need to run them. So then you, in reverse order, you buy not ingredients, not supplies. What's the word I'm looking for? Resources to run your power
Trash.
plants. So you need like oil or nuclear stuff or whatever. But the way that they do this economic system is that the person who was least on the auction, they get to buy their resources first, and it definitely gets more expensive as there's more demand. And so the supply and demand is like super there. It's very clear. I love it. And then you have to move around on the board and expand your cities and then power them to earn money back so that you can expand more and build more power plants in the future. So it's, I don't know, it's the very first game that I feel like was like heavy economic that I played, and I really enjoy it. It's just a good, solid classic.
That's awesome. I like this game a lot. It's not on my top 100, but I think part of it is just not getting it to the table often enough.
It is one of those. I don't even know if we have a copy of it anymore.
No, we sold ours off.
Yeah, we sold ours off. We don't play it very often.
I think you know a guy.
But
Probably same guy I know.
Yeah. There's definitely one here, and there's
There's a
expansion
dealer,
maps
yeah.
too. So.
Dealer.
Yeah.
This is our dealer.
Can I have
Roy's
a
making fun of
good-
me about my trash comments. We did a top 10 where I was like, yeah, Power Grid's awesome. It's so much of it is thematic and realistic, except for the whole like burning trash as a resource for some reason. And then every European person who watched that top 10 list emailed me, left comments like, no, there's actual trash burning facilities that are power plants.
There are here in
Yeah.
Florida.
And I didn't know this until now.
Our trash here in Florida is like super gone through, and they burn as much as they can to produce steam, to produce energy.
Then why do we have so many landfills? Because I swear to goodness, there is a landfill on every other exit here.
There
There's
is
a lot of
so
people.
I think they've converted to that
Right.
because they're running out of landfill space, and so now they just put the ash in the landfill. And so they said the landfills would be like 100 times bigger if they didn't
I
do
don't know, I
this
feel like
now.
we're importing trash because there are a lot of
There's a lot of
landfills.
birds.
Every
too.
hill or like mountain that you see in Florida is a trash heap,
Is a
by the
landfill.
way.
100%.
Most
Florida.
parks that
Come
you
on.
go to
Of
are
course we're importing
recreation.
trash.
Yeah, reclaimed.
Yeah.
Fills.
There's
We're
so
all
many
imports.
We're all,
We're all
we are.
imports into Florida.
And no,
They're
no,
importing
I was
trash.
born in Florida, so
I
I'm
bring
just
my trash
back.
with me. Thank you very much.
Us
No, so that's
born
my
one state north.
that's my 68 is Power Grid.
Awesome. My 68 is a game that I'm pretty sure Chris asked if it would be on my list. And of course it's on my list. It's a Lord of the Rings game. This is Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth.
Are all Lord of the Rings games on your list?
No, there's a ton of Lord of the Rings games.
That's what I thought. So why would this, of course?
It'd be my top 100 Lord of the Rings games if that was the thing. No, I really enjoy this. This is very thematic, and I really enjoy the system. And I really enjoy the card play, like Chris said before, the fact that like you have these cards, you have this deck that you kind of like upgrade over the course of the campaign, and you're trying to get like certain symbols, but you can also take those cards out and play them out, and they have special abilities, and you're going through trying to basically just explore and do whatever the quest is that time. And there's this entire like threat is just always looming that you have to try to like do it quickly. So you have to try to figure out which things do I skip, which things do I explore, what's going to push me further in the mission. And if you play through the campaign, you can see that like the gameplay can vary differently depending on the current scenario. Like sometimes you're out traveling the wilderness trying to like find something to like heal a person, and then the next mission you're like trying to like go through a tavern and figure out who the suspicious person is in the tavern by questioning all of them. It's also
Sometimes
the-
you're Gimli trying to climb a tree, and you're
Right.
like, succeed!
Exactly.
Please!
It's like, why did I pick the character to do a dex check? They're not going to be able to succeed in it. But yeah, I really enjoy it, and I love the fact that there's like different classes, and you can kind of like multi-class a little bit in the game as well. Like, okay, this scenario we're going to play some of this, like Pathfinder, so I can move around more, but now I need more of this so I can do combat better, you know, that sort of thing. There's a lot of really enjoyable things in this game. One of the things that brought it down, this would probably be way higher on my list if it was more of a one-shot thing. Like you said, like it's really hard to go through a campaign of the game. So I haven't really, I like did the first campaign, but I haven't gone back through and done like multiple campaigns on it. I know there's expansions for it. There's tons of content for this game, but if it was all one-shots, I feel like I could just throw it on the table and play with anybody. But since it's a campaign, it's like a commitment, you know?
You have to have the same number of players.
Right.
You can't even be like, okay, one person dropped out, we'll play it at 3 this
Right.
week.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, for
It's
me,
hard,
I
yeah.
feel like this maybe would have been on my list if I had owned a copy of it, but because we played our Board Game Cafe's copy of it, every time we had to reorganize everything, pull everything out. It was always
Yeah.
a hot mess when we got
Yeah.
back to
Yes.
it. And it wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the game and I really enjoy it, and it's one that I just am like, I want to play more of, you know, but I haven't had an opportunity to do so just because campaigns are demanding.
They are.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I love it. I
Sure.
love Lord of the Rings, and I think the system is really slick, so that's why it's my 68. Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth.
Slick Rick.
All right, number 67 here. As I said, I forgot to mention that Elder Sign, my last pick, was at 1.35. It's now at 68. This pick was once at 46. Now it's 67. That is Coal Baron. This has fallen, I think, simply just because I haven't gotten to play it very much. I really love this game. It's a worker placement game
that cover.
with, you know, it's coal. It's a theme, I guess.
It's
But-
black and not beige, you know.
But what's really fun
mucky
about
gray.
it is you on that central board you put out workers. You can take action spots, things like move an elevator shaft up and down because the richer coal is further down. I don't know if that's thematic or not, but
It's less picked through, probably.
That's
Less
the
money?
justification in this game. The further down you go, the better the coal. But
I wonder. I feel like I need to Google this now.
More pressure.
more
Because it's
pressure.
farther down, so it's more closer
So it's like
to
closer
diamonds.
to being a diamond? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right,
oh, look at these
I'm gonna-
diamonds we got. Throw it in the
Google
trash
that
burner.
later.
It's more refined coal.
Yeah. But so the elevator shaft is actually just a fun, dumb gimmick where you're like sliding it up and down, but you're hauling resources at the top and selling it off for contracts. But what I think is great about the worker placement is that it has a bump out mechanism. I go to an action space, I want to take this action, I want to get these cards and stuff. One worker. If Wendy wants to go to that spot, and she's like, Chris went there. 2 workers bumps me out. Roy wants to go there, he can pay 3 workers. And so you're sitting there, certain action spots are really coveted, and you're like, am I willing to pay
go there?
4 workers?
I would not go there.
I would not be at that table, so.
That's why I skipped you in the exam. It's really engaging.
Skip me.
You have like 20 workers per round or something. So you're like, yeah, I'll throw out 4 workers, and then you think, oh, that was like a fifth of my workforce. Was that okay? Okay, I'm gonna be really like stingy for the next little bit. Oh, someone took my 2 workers. So like you have a
Yeah.
ton, and then they kind of start going. Yeah, this is a game that I feel like been a little bit forgotten. They made a card game version of it, and I honestly haven't tried it because I'm almost afraid to like it because I love the original so much, or I'm afraid I'll try the card game and be like, it's not the original. So
That sounded
It
like
could
you.
go either way.
yeah, I
Good
know.
imitation.
I just such a great Chrissy impression.
Jeez.
So I don't know.
Uncanny.
I want to hunt down a copy of this one. It's hard to find.
Did like playing this game. I only played it once, maybe twice, and I don't feel like. I feel like I would like it if I played it more, but I didn't like adore it at first. But I liked a lot about it, and so I don't know. I think it's one I think I need to warm up to.
And it's been a few years since you
It
played
has
it. I think
been.
that if you played it again, you'd be like,
Oh, I'd probably be like,
Things
oh,
would
this is
feel-
great. Yeah, this. I think everything would just flow.
it's a Kramer and Keesling thing, so it like a game, so it's somehow familiar and innovative at the same time. I think it's great. So that's my 67 Coal Baron.
I'm mostly disappointed in the chat that they haven't let us know if coal is better quality
The further
the
you go
further
down.
you go down.
Chat,
so.
you have one job.
You had one
Do
job.
it.
Google for me, and
Yeah.
you
Trying
failed.
to figure out if that game
You
is
have the
beige enough
internet.
for Chris.
We also have the internet. We just don't use it.
No, my clipboard's fresh out of internet.
That's true. It's the non-Wi-Fi version.
Right, it's still stuck in AOL. All right, my numbers I've looked 4 times. What is my 67? My 67, one more again, is Sub-Astral. I think this is the last small little relaxing game I have on this chunk here. So yeah.
That doesn't look small and little, but it does
It
look
is.
relaxing.
It is.
a little card
It's a
box.
little bitty
Oh,
card box
I
like
see.
this, and it's got. I believe
I
this
don't
is
know
Beth
this
Sobel's art as well. And so in this one, you are collecting different. It's a site collection, open draft again, and you're collecting different landscapes, I guess, for your biome or your tableau that you're building. So on your turn, you have a handful of cards, and you are going to play one of those cards to one of the six stations out in the middle. So you play one of your cards from your hand, and then from the one you play, you can either take the cards to the left or to the right of that. Okay, and so locations are going to be gathering more and more cards, and so again, you have that balance of like, do I want to play this card or do I want to take that really juicy spot right there? But again, to the left or right, you'll take all the cards. And if you choose one to the right of it, then you get to play one down into your own personal biome or your tableau. And so you're trying to collect sets of the same different landscapes, but also vary it because you only score each set. So like your first set might have all 6 different, or I'm sorry, I think it's 7 different environments in it. But maybe your second row is only half complete, so that's worth less points. So you're trying to vary, but also, build up a lot, but also vary and build your tableau out at the same time. And it's just, I really, really enjoy this. Again, it's really simple, it's really quick, it's absolutely gorgeous, and yeah, I don't know what else I can say. I really feel like this one slid under the radar. It's again a newer one. It just came out last year. But I really feel like it slid under the radar and just doesn't get enough love because I really, really enjoy my plays of this. And I've told multiple people about it. I'm like, go get it, and I'll play it with you. I'll teach it. And so, yeah, I've played it a couple times at the retreat as well. So
Is
yeah.
it in our library?
I mean, I don't know if it's been culled or not. There's somebody that keeps culling lots and lots of things. So like so many things are getting thrown
me.
away.
It's tough.
Okay, well,
Just
all I
saying.
know is there's been a lot of boxes
guy.
later.
I'm just the one who burns the
Your
garbage.
Your dealer. So my number 67 is Sub-Astral.
That's great. My number 67 is one of my favorite foods, and that's point salad. Salad actually is one of my favorite foods. Like, I really
good.
enjoy salad.
But it's so hard because that's such a broad, it's kind of like
It
my favorite
is.
food is vegetables.
I like
Yeah.
taco salad.
Well, you don't have to have.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Salad,
there you
like
go.
very different from Caesar.
I'm all about like lettuce and really any form of meat. You could throw hamburger, fish, whatever, and I like because I think it's because I'm gluten free, so I don't have a lot of buns and stuff. So anything that you would put on a burger bun
got no buns on.
or bread or anything like that, put in a salad. I have deli meat salads with like mayonnaise and mustard in them and stuff.
If crab salad has taught me anything, you don't have to have a single ounce
That's
of
not a
vegetable
salad.
in a salad.
It has salad in the name.
Yeah.
It counts.
salad.
It's basically a
Macaroni
vegetable.
salad.
I like crab
Yes.
salad.
Which I actually
I
don't
also
really
like tuna
like.
salad.
Ooh, crab
I
salad.
like most salads.
I've been craving egg salad lately.
Egg salad.
I
That's good
love
stuff.
egg salad.
I had a lot of egg salad during Easter. So point salad is a game where you are playing games, not talking
there's a
about
camera.
salad.
It's our most distracted list, I think, so far.
Yes. So what you're doing is you are collecting vegetable ingredients for your salad, but you also have the opportunity to collect recipe cards, and the back of every card is a recipe. And so you can choose to take those, or you can choose to take ingredients, and what you're trying to do is just score points based on the recipes. It may say, you know, for every 2 beets you earn 3 points. Cool, I want to collect beets. Or it may say you get points if you don't have any bell peppers, because everybody hates bell peppers. I like bell peppers. Shh. It just various things like that. It's just a very simple, easy card game. It came out a few years ago, and I don't know, I feel like I missed the train on it a little bit. Like, it came out at a convention, and then we had COVID and stuff, and then, did it come out that year or the year before?
Somewhere
Yeah,
around
somewhere
there.
around there. I just
It was
remember
big for a
playing
while.
at one of the Dice Tower Wests. And it was big for a while, and then kind of I didn't hear about it, and then I went to play it at like the retreat or something like that, and everyone was like, I've already played this. I know this game done. And I was
You're
like,
not
wait.
cool enough.
Like, I like this game. I want to play it. Like, I haven't overdone it. So I guess some people have. But I really enjoy point salad. I think it's quick, it's easy, simple, and I'm excited that someday I can introduce it to my daughters, kind of like the next level of math, you know. I think that's going to be fun.
Sneaky math.
I haven't played
Sneaky-
Point
I love
Salad,
sneaky
but I
math.
know they're coming out with
For other
a
people.
Pokemon version of Point Salad. I guess maybe it's like going to be like an
the
international
Eevees,
thing.
baby.
Yeah, the Eevees or whatever, which are just as delicious as salads.
You know.
Really
Do you want
great.
Pokemon for dinner or vegetables?
We all
Just
know the
saying.
right answer there.
Yes.
Pokemon every time.
And it ain't
Yes.
oddish. So
Yeah.
a friend of mine actually, a friend of mine got his copy of Point Salad. He got a signature on it by Stefan Feld, who is not one of the designers, mind you.
That's awesome. That's like when somebody
I
brought
should do
Mage
that
Knight
more
around and got
often.
all of us to sign it, and I was just like, cool.
Done. Good
That's
stuff.
fun though.
All right, that's my number 67 is Point Salad.
Awesome. My 67 is a crazy dexterity game that's a lot of fun, and that is Rhino Hero Super Battle.
Oh, I love this.
As you
one.
are stacking these different walls and different towers and trying to see how high you can get. Whoever is the highest on the tower when it falls down is the winner of the game. I've had crazy epic games of Rhino Hero Super Battle where we just have these giant structures. I remember the very first time I played this, I played it at the Haba booth at Dice Tower East with Mark Streed, and we just ended up having this crazy monstrosity of like a tower that we had built, and it was just awesome. And I mean, it makes for those epic experiences, especially when everybody's like strangely serious about this kids game.
Oh, yeah.
That it's like, oh, hold your breath.
When
Put your thing on
when
there.
two towers become a bridge, you're like, yes.
It's like, it's just gonna go so high. I mean, it just makes it crazy when you have that gigantic build up there. I've had a blast playing this. I played it with my kids. I played it with adults. I played it with my game group. It's just silly fun. And I mean, that's one of the reasons I love board games, is just the fact that you can have fun with all sorts of different people and bring them to the table and just have interesting experiences playing games.
It's so memorable. I feel like everybody
gonna
that's
say, yeah.
played this just has like a story of something that was so funny in the moment that happened
Yeah.
during this game.
It's memorable, but also like it's kind of timeless at the same time. You know, I love playing it at conventions. You know,
Right.
I put it kind of in the same category as like Spiky Dastards or
Right,
something like that.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
where you're like at every convention you're like, yes. You know, it's you see it out and you're like, oh, I forgot that we had that, and you want to go get it. You
And this
know?
is the only listing I have for Rhino Hero, but I mean, I'd also lump in regular Rhino Hero, and then I've also played Giant Rhino Hero a bunch. That's one of the ones I pull out at conventions also, because we have it in the Dice Tower library.
Yeah.
But I just kind of lump those together, but I really enjoy all the versions of Rhino Hero. So if you
love
haven't tried out Rhino Hero, it's fun.
I love these top 100 lists where you could have like Lord of the Rings Journeys to Middle Earth, and then your next pick
this is more
I know.
mechanically
Rhino Hero.
sound than Lord of the Rings Journeys to Middle Earth. Like,
I'm just like
least-
By
here.
1.5 points.
I'm sitting
listen,
saying.
if Lord of the Rings Journeys to Middle Earth had one-shots, it would be above Rhino Hero. But
I think this is making me really disappointed that it did not consider Spiky Dastards for my top 100. Like, I can't even believe I forgot it.
that pains
done.
me.
oh,
Feel
messed
of
up.
regret.
that was good. I approve.
Awesome. My number 67.
All right, my number 66, 4 years ago on my list, was 65. How the Mighty Have Fallen. One space. So my number 66 is Ticket to Ride. What I did here is I included my favorite box set for the cover here. I absolutely love the United Kingdom, Pennsylvania combo set, the map pack. But Ticket to Ride in general, I think, is a very fun game. We've owned the basic set, America. We've owned Europe, and we played several of the maps and stuff. Just tried the Poland one, which is coming out soon. But Pennsylvania is my favorite individual map because as you lay out tracks, you look on there on the track that you just covered, and it'll show a few different company symbols, and you can grab one share of their stock. It's really not a stock game. It's just like a secondary, like majority type scoring thing. And
It's a stock game.
It's a stock game. But this map is excellent because it encourages you to lay out tracks continually. Right? Some people say, oh, Ticket to Ride's broken. You just collect cards for the first half of the game and then lay stuff out. And that's not true on like the smaller, tighter maps. But it's especially not true here because then you're just going to keep, getting shorted on all of these, on all the important stocks. It adds a lot of scoring to the game without adding a lot of complexity, and I like that dynamic a lot. The other side of this box is the United Kingdom, which adds like technologies. It's a little bit more restrictive until you get text to build out. Any of the maps are fun. Anything about Ticket to Ride is generally speaking fun, but it's particularly this high because I really love this map pack, the map pack 5. So, Ticket to Ride, I'm going to channel my inner Mike DeLisio. It's a modern classic.
Good job there.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that, Mike?
I like Ticket to Ride.
It's a modern classic.
Doesn't sound like Mike at all.
Very
I'm
nice.
just saying.
Have you played the first Journey with your daughter?
I've played First Journey not with my
your
daughter.
We play New York with our daughter.
Okay.
That's right. There's a whole
smaller-
slew of Ticket to Ride
because
products.
that's newer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that Pennsylvania one though was really good. I appreciated that it really lets you focus in on smaller tracks. Like they're worth it. I feel like in regular Ticket to Ride, you're like, oh, I want to get the really long tracks and I want to just complete my super long objective. But you get instead of having the longest track bonus, you get the bonus for having fulfilled the most tickets. So you can fulfill a lot of those tiny tickets. You can get that extra long bonus, and then you can get way more stocks than everybody else because you completed a lot of little tracks. I think that's so cool. The way it balances that out.
It's really good.
Very nice.
That's my 66.
All right. My 66 is another kind of relaxing game. It's kind of in the nature theme still, but it is not a light, short, easy game to pick up, I don't think. It is Ark Nova. So this will be a crossover with Tom. So in this, you are trying to build and manage a zoo. And so on your turn, you have a handful of cards. And you're going to choose one of your cards down in order to play, which allows you to take a certain action. So you really have 5 actions that you're choosing from, whether that be build an enclosure so you can eventually put an animal in it, whether it's put an animal in an enclosure, whether it's develop some sponsorships or some different actions, some different things that you can do like that. And so you have a hand of cards, which are sponsorships and different opportunities that you might pursue, but also building your park and putting animals in it and ultimately trying to get the most. It's not called reputation. I'm thinking obsession. What is it called? Appeal. Yeah, you're trying to balance your appeal, and which it's a euro, so you want to get points. But yeah, I really have enjoyed this one. It's definitely I think it's a heavier game.
For sure.
I think it's compared a lot to Terraforming Mars. But it's a nature theme, and again, just the way it looks, because again, Shadow Gamer. I really think that they did a good job in this one with using real pictures. That's usually kind of a turnoff for me. I prefer art and hand-drawn art, but I really think it does well in this one, and it just flows really well. It has a really good look to it, which if you want me to play a really heavy game, that's how you're probably going to get me. And it got me. Number 66.
I think it looks like zoo books is what it is, right? Like so many of those.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's why it works.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. Quite possibly. Yeah, so Ark Nova, really, really enjoy it.
Good stuff. That's a solid game. Solid game. It didn't make it on my top 100, but it is a Solid, good stuff. All right, my number, what are we on? 66. This is, I think, going to be a crossover with Chris, and this is Crusaders Thy Will Be Done.
You know nothing about me.
I know nothing about Chris, except that he really likes this game. So it's
You know
probably
nothing
way
about
higher on his list than mine. This is a game where you are using this Mancala mechanism. So if you look on the bottom left of that picture over there, you have this little round board and a bunch of little pieces on it. And so you pick up you pick up all the pieces in one space, and that's the level of action that you have is dependent on those pieces. And then you place them all in a circle until they stop, and so you're filling up all the other actions as you do so. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to crusade and go conquer stuff and build buildings across this big map. The theme isn't really there, but
We appreciate you trying. All right.
there's something.
You almost had me.
Almost had you. But what I really like about it is that mechanism of the Mancala, but then also as you're going across the map and conquering stuff and spreading your zeal, you're building buildings, and those buildings are unlocking stronger action powers and some victory points. And so there's various ways to get points and all that kind of jazz. And so I think it's really cool. I really like the puzzle of it all. It makes me happy.
I've never had a game of this last longer than like an hour. Either.
That is the other thing.
wow.
It looks big and it looks long, and it's not long.
Oh, based on that picture,
Yeah.
I assumed it was a small game.
No, it fills up. It fills up the table. But
So
it
there's a
is
central
solid.
board, and everybody has their own player board with buildings to unlock and stuff. So it's
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at a picture too. You know, it's
right. Yeah.
Well, if
for
you
sure.
compare it to my dice character there, she's yay big, and
Oh heaven.
reference
the important things. No, but this game, mechanically, it is beautiful. It's not super long, but it's got a lot of good think to it. So my number 6 is Crusaders Thy Will Be Done.
Awesome. My number 66 is a real-time space game.
Yes.
Space.
Yes.
But you're building your ship and trying to truck across the galaxy. This is Galaxy Trucker. So this is a
You
crazy.
destroy in this game, Roy.
This is a crazy, fast-paced game where you're trying to build a ship in real time, but then after you're done doing that, then you go through these different event cards sort of thing to see like whether you're going through open space and you get to try to race the other players or try to go further if you depending on your engines, or whether pirates come and you have to have guns and blast them off, or whether there's planets you can like get resources from, and then you have to have cargo bays to do all that stuff, or asteroids that are blasting you around and you have to have shields. So there's all these things you want on your ship to be able to prepare for all these cards, but you don't know exactly what's in that deck. So you have to kind of prepare for everything. And a lot of people say this game's just random and luck, and there's no strategy in it at all. But I think I do okay, and I think I've kind of proved it.
I challenge those people to play against you.
Roy, yeah. I never want to play this game with Roy again because
What?
he'll always
it was
win.
fun. It was a close game.
I'll
It
play
was
you
not
sometime
close
with
at
you,
all.
Ryan.
Just saying.
It's yeah.
It was
such
a live
kooky,
play
fun game.
from fall, I think. Fall or winter
Something like-
spectacular.
When I used to play with my
Yeah,
game
one
group,
of
what
the
I would
two.
do is I teach everybody the game and teach them really well, and then like
And then you put on a blindfold.
the timer.
this is the engine.
There's a timer
Yeah.
that you flip during the game. Like after the timer goes out once, you flip it, and then once it goes out a second time, then everybody has to stop. So just wait until the timer ran out all the way one time, and then flip it over, and then I build all my stuff after people had spent one time.
And you still won, and everybody else got demolished.
No comment. But I
I can
with this
take
game.
the leftovers.
I feel like there's
and
probably
still
game
wipe
out
the
there,
floor.
people out there that are just really good at this game. This is a game that you can get better at, like the more you play it and the more you understand, like, okay, this is how these pieces fit together, and this is what I kind of need to be able to overcome this round. And when you build those really gigantic ships, it's just fun to like sit back after you're done and marvel at like, holy crap, look at this giant ship, and then an asteroid hits you in the right place and half of it disappears. It's kind of
I think it's a super clever game.
Yeah.
I think the real time is very smart. That way you're not spending an
Yeah.
hour putting together your ship before the deck comes. I think that's really cool. But yeah,
And the
then you
fact
just
that,
get
like,
destroyed.
when people flip over tiles, they can like leave them in front of them, and then you can just kind of look around the table and be like, oh, that's the one I need.
Whoa.
It's fun.
Nope.
No, you should have put
Not
the
my
engine on your
tile.
ship if you want it on your ship,
No,
Camilla.
get your
Missed
hands.
opportunity.
Anyway, I love Galaxy
my
Trucker.
trucker.
It's crazy, frenetic fun, but I have a blast with it, and that's why it's my number 66.
Lucky.
All right, my number 65 is the first time that a game has moved up in position, actually, so far, compared to my list 4 years ago. There's a game called Aladdin's Dragons. I have had a lot
Aladdin's?
of fun.
Like-
Aladdin's Dragons. I've had a lot of fun teaching this. I've taught this at almost every convention we've been to recently. It is a worker placement style of game, but your workers are these discs that you put out that have different values, 1 through 9. but you place them out face down. And so you don't really know how heavily invested somebody is in a space, but you have to kind of try to feel it out and guess, because it's a majorities game. Whoever gets the majority of, in the white resource area gets the most white resources, then second and third place. And there's 5 different colors of resources you get, several different action spots, and then ultimately you're also bidding at the very top, or in this case of the picture, on the very left, to get the victory point tokens, basically. What else is neat is every time that you earn one of those victory point tokens, it's also a special power that you can activate throughout the game. But you're limited in how many you can activate, so it doesn't let one person run away with it, per se. I think it's a really fantastic design. It's an old game, as you can look at it and see. Someone yelled at me last time because I called Five Tribes an older game.
It is.
It is, right?
Isn't it's like 10 years old?
It's about 8 or so years old. Aladdin's Dragons is from like 2000. And it's not even the oldest game on this list. So I'm gonna feel fine saying this is an old game. You can't find it, it's not in print, unfortunately, but
I think they're saying
come to a
it's
Dice Tower
looking for
event.
a copy. It's
Yeah.
like $100.
A similar game is the Role Player Lockup. It does a similar type of worker placement thing, so that's easier to find. But I really have a huge affinity for this game. So my number 65, Aladdin's Dragons.
It is an intriguing mechanism, that idea of like hidden worker placement kind of stuff.
Ah, it's so fun.
Very cool. All right, my number 65 is a cooperative game, and it's actually one of the few games on my list that is fantasy themed. I know, right? It's crazy.
Is it pretty fantasy or generic fantasy?
I think it's pretty fantasy. That's probably why I like it, because it has like some sketching in it, and I really like that art style. My number 65 is Last Bastion. So this is the updated version, I guess, version 2 of Ghost Stories, where they kind of combined a couple mechanisms together and updated it and had different theme, obviously. So in Last Bastion, you are heroes, and you are in a city and trying to protect it from these goblins and ghouls and bad things that are coming out and trying to
Monkeys
attack
and
your
tigers and
forces.
bears, oh my.
That are trying to take down your defenses. So you have a 3x3 grid in the middle, which are different places in town that you can go to. So on your turn, you can do 2 things. You can move, you can do 3 things. You can move, you can take the action of the place that you're at, or you can fight, and you get to do 2 of those 3 things. And so there's different things you're going to go there, and you're going to collect. Well, okay, let me see. If you're going to fight, let's start there. So if you're going to fight, then you're going to roll the dice, and if you have the right symbols, then you defeat that bad person. If not, then they stay out there. But in order to mitigate that, you can go out and collect different tokens through the town. Then the bad guys are going to fight back, and you can lose hearts. And so it has this luck, of the dice roll, but again, that mitigation that I just love. And it's so fun, and it's very, very hard. And I very often lose this game, quite often.
That's the reputation it has, yeah.
But I love it because when you have that, when you do win, you just feel so like, every victory feels like such a big victory. And I love that feeling that you're just like, I did it! I'm so powerful because I rolled dice correctly, like you just
good job,
I'm mitigated, it feels, and so you have this good cooperation as well, where it's like you can't do everything that you need to, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna hang out over here because my special player power does this, but it'll combo with yours, or hey, I can do this for you, so you feel like you have that cooperation as well, and it has a lot of good conversation behind it. My number 65, Last Bastion.
Sounds good and all, but I wish you were a little more excited about it.
Oh, did I get really excited again?
I played Ghost Stories a ton and
stand
just
up
get
this time.
crushed over and over again. I've heard that Last Bastion's a little bit simpler than Ghost Stories, so
I've heard that as well.
I might enjoy it a little bit more, feeling like I have some sort of chance to win. But
right, I've heard that as well.
But yeah, I'd like to try Last Bastion.
I haven't tried either. So,
really?
Yeah, I'd like to give that
I'll
one.
catch a palooza. You want it?
Do you have a favorite hero?
Is that a verb? I do. I can't think of the name. Oh, what is it? It's the
what
one.
weapon do they have? That's really what we
Oh
want
my
to know.
gosh, she has 2 crossbows.
Oh.
And so she can
Really
instead of fighting
crossbows.
one person, she can put them both up and fight both of them.
How does she
how do you
crank
reload
it?
the crossbows when you have 2
With
crossbows?
the
With
other
their teeth.
crossbows, you just fire one bolt into the other.
No,
You have like a strap
No.
you step on, like poles, cranks. I don't know.
Just
You stick it behind your back and like auto
already
loads.
pulled back, and like then the bolt
Maybe.
goes up.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
then
like
it
a
just shoots
semi-automatic.
each
It's a
semi-automatic
Semi-automatic
crossbow.
crossbow.
Now I
Yeah, see, that's how you do
Clearly.
it. Yes,
Perfect.
That's my favorite character.
Gatling gun attachment. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, a lot of fun. Last Bastion.
That's awesome. All right, my number 65 is one of the newer games on my list, and this is Seven Wonders Architects. Yeah, this game is a lot smaller than it looks. It's a lot more basic than it looks. You got everyone has a wonder that they're trying to build in front of them, and you basically have the choice of drawing a card from one of the decks between me and Roy, one of the decks between me and Camilla, or the main deck in the middle. Like there's just a few options, and you can draw cards from them, and those cards give you things like points, or they give you abilities to build your wonder, or various and sundry things. They're just very simple. It has a lot of nods to Seven Wonders, definitely in the iconography and in the way that you build up stuff. You can build your army and fight for points. It's like not
my favorite way to
that
fight.
intense. My favorite fighting games are for points. But it's just very sweet and simple and easy, and I love the wonders, how they're just very elegant and lovely. And we can play this with our daughter, which surprised me because I looked at it and I thought this is a much bigger game than it is. And so I don't know, there's just very nice. There's something that's very lovely about it. Not the I don't love the box cover, but the actual game pieces I think.
Oh,
are lovely.
really?
Yeah.
I think it's a very inviting box cover. I like it.
It doesn't do it for me. But yeah, Seven Wonders Architects. It's great.
Okay. Wendy doesn't like beautiful things. That's why she loves me.
I do
Self-owned.
love you.
That's a
Self-owned.
little heartbreaking.
So my 65 is Seven Wonders Architects.
So my 65 is another case where a lot of these TCGs and things like that made it onto my list because I didn't weed them out this time, but I really, really like this game. This is the Lord of the Rings TCG. And there's a few things in this game that
I like that cover.
yeah, this came out right at the same time as the movies did, and
Striking.
I was huge into Lord of the Rings before the movies came out. I like grew up with the books and the cartoons and things like that. So like I was big into collectible card games at the time. So like I got this game and I really enjoy a lot of the mechanics in this. This has a mechanic that like I don't see in a whole lot of other games where like you have good characters and bad characters in your deck, but as you play good characters out, you put resources in the middle of the table. So the more good things, you can play as many good characters as you want, but there's more and more resources that come out, and the resources you put in the middle, then your opponent gets to use those resources to play their bad characters. And it's all about pressing your luck as the Fellowship, trying to build out your Fellowship, build them up with weapons and things like that to defend themselves, and then get them to the last site. If you go through all 9 sites, then you've destroyed the ring or whatever, and you're able to win the game. But the more you build out, the more your opponent's going to be able to put out orcs and goblins and Nazgul and Balrogs and stuff like that. And that push and pull of like trying to only put out a little bit, but then your opponent is able to like try to figure out how to put out even more. And each time you get further and further in the game, more and more resources end up getting put out. So later in the game, your opponent can just pile tons of bad guys out there, and you're just trying to get to that last site before your opponent does. It's very interesting mechanically that I've never really seen in other games, and that's one of the reasons why I still have a huge affinity for this. And it's a game that, I mean, it's a dead CCG, so nobody's really going to play it, but I just really enjoy the way it works, and it's extremely thematic to Lord of the Rings, and especially the movies, so it's a lot of fun. It's a great game.
It sounds really cool, but the Giant Eagles card is broken. Played out the gate, you won. That's how the book should have gone.
Yeah, it just says skip to site 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
Done.
Yep.
They actually did that in the War of the Ring game. There's like a card that's like Eagles or whatever, that if you play it, then you win the game, unless your opponent can find a good reason that you don't win the game. But then there's also a bad card that's like if you reveal it and they have Eagles in their hand currently, then they lose the game. It's a joke.
Is it
but
the Kill All the Eagles card?
I don't know. I don't remember exactly.
Swine flu.
But
or bird
Birdicide.
flu.
But yeah, this game's fun, and I still have a couple little starter decks for it, just so it's like if I really needed to, I could play it out and do stuff. But I had a dwarves deck. Dwarves! Throw axes and stuff.
Dwarves are cool.
Dwarves are cool, especially when they deal damage. Anyway, good stuff. Lord of the Rings, the trading card game. It's dead, and it's fun.
The time has come. Number 64, the time has come. Yeah. See you next time, everybody. No.
Oh, wait.
My number 64 is my highest Reiner Knizia game on the list. This is new to the list. This is Marshmallow Test.
Wow.
Remember?
I really like this. This is a...
I'm just going to say this was worth the wait.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
Mike is
really?
openly weeping back there.
Never
I
mind.
get it.
Oh, I
get
get it now.
Roy.
Oh,
Right
I'm
past
disappointed
the
in myself on
marshmallow
that one.
So the Marshmallow
Okay.
Test is a debatable psychological experiment, and there's been studies trying to replicate it. There's issues with it, but it's a cute theme for a game where you're trying to win tricks, right? Play out cards, follow lead suit, highest card of the lead suit wins. But this is like the best introductory trick-taking game that I've ever seen. Because if you haven't grown up with trick-taking, it's not an easy concept to always get, and a lot of games have fun and interesting flourishes along with it, or require you to do hard things like look at your hand of cards and bet. I bet I'm going to win 4 of these tricks. I don't know, right? This one, you score once you hit a certain number of tricks, like 4, but you score the number of tricks that other players at the table have won, and so you are kind of encouraged to make sure that you get close to that scoring limit, but let other people win some, but you have the pressure of, but now I need to win my last one, otherwise I get left behind and I don't get to score this round. It's cute. The card quality could be better. That's probably my biggest complaint about it. I wish the card quality were better, but man, I've had so much success teaching this to people, and I constantly have fun with it. Every time I replay it, it's one of those games where you think, do I like this a lot because my first experience was really good? And then you play it again and you're like, no, this is really fun! So, Marshmallow Test. 64.
Also play it with real marshmallows.
Is Corey kidding in the chat that there's a s'mores expansion? Is that a joke? Because if it's not a joke, I am like 2,000% more interested.
Oh man. Knizia! I know you're watching.
I want
Get on it.
more.
Oh, so that is a joke.
It's a joke.
Corey, you're a disappointment. All right.
You know.
All right. My number 64 is, I lied to you earlier. Actually, I do owe an apology. I said before that Obscurio was my highest party game. It's not. My number 64 is my highest party game. This is Monstrosity. Monstrosity, I am not
Not a party without monsters.
Right, yes. So Monstrosity, I have had so much fun with this game. I'm not a big fan of party games, especially word games. I know you really like them, but I just find they make me feel stupid, or I am stupid and it just points it out. I'm not really sure. We don't need to debate that. But I'm not very like on my feet, quick, witty, that. And so I think this one really appeals to me because it has you think quickly and you're working quickly, but it's just kind of a little more ridiculous, I guess. It's not about being witty, it's more about the interpretation of things. So in this, the premise of this is somebody has seen a monster in the town and they go into the police station in order to describe it. So all of you are forensic
Sketch artists.
Sketch artists,
yeah,
also known as sketch artists.
Forensic drawers.
Forensic drawers.
If this were a word game, Camilla
I would be
win.
rocking it. Again, not my forte. So you're all trying to draw what they're describing, and they have 2 minutes, and these drawings are so wacky, and there's a lot of different artists, so every monster is very unique. I mean, you can see this one right here that looks like this mosquito dragon, and there's this other one in there that looks like the Weasel house, the Weasley's house in Harry Potter. So we just completely different art styles.
The Weasel
It looks
house.
like the Weasel house. Okay, you know what? Again,
really
words,
long
not my thing. So they're describing it, and these are just wacky creatures, and they only have 2 minutes. And so everyone is trying to sketch out what they're drawing, and also asking questions. I mean, we'll just use the house as an example. It's like, okay, does it have eyes? How many feet does it have? Are they claw feet? Are they tentacles? Is it this? Is it that? And they're just off the wall, and then there's this simultaneous reveal where you reveal your picture, and the person who was drawing it has to say, that's the one that looks the most like it. And then you reveal the picture and everyone sees it, and then you guys all vote on, oh no, actually this person, was the best. And so it's crazy. I think that it takes, because it has that interpretation, you're going off what somebody is saying, it takes that pressure of like, everybody that I played this game with, in every group, there's at least one person that's like, oh, I'm not gonna be good at this, I'm not good at drawing. And then you get halfway through and you're like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
It's about that interpretation and kind of like getting in sync with somebody, what they're describing.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. It plays well in big groups. It plays well in like a smaller party game. I've played it as small as like 4 people, and it still works great. I've played it so much over Zoom, like virtually it works really, really well. It's just a really versatile party game, and it's just fun.
I enjoy
it's
party
so
games that
much
include
fun.
drawing.
I
So
like
probably would
party
this.
games that include drawing that you don't need to draw good.
Yes.
And that's
And
what
drawing
this is.
bad
It's such-
makes it better.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Everybody draws poorly.
Pictionary
Yes.
is not on any of our lists, I'm going to assume, for that reason, right? But stuff like this is so
And sometimes
so
it's
cool.
random. It's just you happen to be in the right headspace. You know, right? Like everyone else made the monster like a triangle, and you went with a different body shape. It's like, wow, that's clearly the worst drawing. but it's the closest, you know,
Yeah.
and so it really
Accidentally.
takes that skill set out of it, and is a lot of fun. So yeah, my number 64 is Monstrosity.
Nice. That's one worth trying. All right, my number 64 is a 3-way crossover. Ba, 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 ba. Everybody but Camilla.
Everyone but me.
Yeah, because she hasn't played it. What is the
Wow.
game that Camilla has not played?
Let me show you the list.
It is a Euro-y first-person shooter.
Oh, Adrenaline.
Adrenaline!
Gosh, I need to play.
Even
Okay, hold on.
on
I'm
my
think you
list,
would like
number
it.
64.
I think you actually would like it.
This is one that I was hesitant to try, but I think that time has really endeared it to me. We don't own it anymore because it's not really great at 2, and most of the games we own, like, you just really have to play it at 2. But this game it's so cool. I love the mechanism of being able to have to always have stuff to load your guns with. And so you've got like 3 weapons in front of you, and you're like, oh, I want to do it all. I want to blast Chris with fire, and I want to railgun you through the walls, and I want to do all these amazing
Always.
things, and I want to move a space and do awesomeness. But I don't ever have enough when it comes to ammo. And so you're always running around trying to pick up ammo, trying to get the right color so that you can mix it all together. So to me, it's a very cool resource management game that happens to have fun miniatures, and you go around and shoot people. So I really enjoy the resource management of it.
It's like this weapon does more damage, but this one can do this pattern of damage, but then these people are standing in just the right place. But I need a yellow cube for that. I'm gonna go over here and pick up the yellow cube and go do it. You know. So it
Or
makes it
this
fun.
gun is really easy to reload, so I can constantly like shoot while I work to build up the other one.
Quantity, I just want to shoot.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have like the katanas and like the cyber daggers and stuff where you have to be in
Cyber
someone's
daggers?
you have to be in someone's space, but it's like free to reload. Like the weapons are
They have weapons that do
are
all sorts
so
of stuff.
different.
That pull
All
people,
place.
ones that like blast in an area, ones that go through walls.
Ones that you can do like a mini version of, or you can do a really big version of if you're able to save up your ammo enough.
Ones that like let you
yeah.
you'll slash someone, then move around a corner, and then slash someone again. That sort of
I'm a
stuff.
little bit nervous about how like high my expectation is getting for this game, because like it's like
exciting.
definitely grown as each of you have talked about it. So
Wow.
Well, it's Wendy's fault. She has the highest.
It's
You know,
my fault that
Well,
I
I'd
like
love to
this
play
game.
this more.
We'll
I
get
do
you
have
playing
to
this
say, I do have to say that I think that I take a very long time to warm up for a game. So for them to get on my top 100, I think it's very hard for newer games to do that. And so some of these older games they're there because I've played them enough times that they've stuck around and I still want to play them.
and I'm like easily excitable, so I'm like, I love it.
Yeah, I am not easy to win over. You tell me about a new game and I'm like, okay, I'll try it a couple times. We'll see how I feel about it. So I'm very slow to the withdraw or the uptake. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, so I think Chris, in a lot of ways, probably likes this game more than I do, but it's higher on my list because it's had time to stick
that makes
around
sense, yeah.
and really ferment in my brain. So,
I was gonna go with marinate, but ferment.
yeah,
works.
you know,
ferment works. Yeah.
sauerkraut,
Rot that brain
kimchi,
away.
good stuff.
kimchi.
So that's Adrenaline, number 64.
Awesome. My 64 is a pirate-themed game that's very sandboxy. This is Merchants and Marauders. This is one where you're going around as a pirate,
He's so
doing a bunch
happy.
of different stuff. You can be merchant-like
teeth are
and go and do
terrible.
kind of like a little bit of pick up and deliver of different resources and drop them off on other islands. You're trying to avoid pirate ships and avoid like the different like nations of different ships that are going around if they're not allied with you because they might attack you and bomb you and things like that. And then you can also like be a pirate and put guns and stuff on your ship and go blast other ships away and things like that. There's a lot of interesting different ways you can play this game, which makes it super fun. And I do feel like it could use a bit of streamlining here and there because the rules are a little bit hard to get back into if you bring it back to the table and you haven't played it in a while, and it can be clunky in some spaces, but I love the sandbox feel of it as you're moving those ships around and being able to sail the high seas and get treasure, and you're trying to store that up to win the game. It's a lot of fun. You have different captains and things like that you can have that give you special abilities. Merchants and Marauders is a blast to play, and it's a lot of fun.
But have you tried the S'mores expansion?
The S'mores expansion makes it awesome, you know.
Do you wear your pirate hat around when you play this game?
I don't own
Do
a
you
pirate
have a
hat.
pirate
Do I
hat?
look like Tom Vassell? Come
You
on.
should own a pirate hat.
No, I
That'd
think
be
I'm
great.
good.
Nah.
I'd be more likely to have the big like pirate dangly rings.
Oh yeah.
hat,
I noticed
you
your earrings match my hat.
I could see you as like a Captain Jack
They
Sparrow
also,
character.
they're green, so they match Baby Yoda.
Oh, there you go.
Baby Yoda got it.
Anyway, I have no clue how that has to do with anything. 64 Merchants and Marauders. Arr.
'63. Let's go back to the remainder of these games have been on my list
Don't go
before.
back to that comment.
This is a game that I'm I'm 99% sure this is going to show up later on Wendy's list. It's Oh My Goods. This is this the first Alexander Pfister game that I've mentioned on my list? Very possibly.
Is this the first game you taught me?
Is this? I think it was Airlines Europe.
Oh,
That you
okay.
played
Yeah,
at
I think
our
this
house,
is
yeah.
maybe the second game. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was in the beginning before you knew me.
Yeah. No, I would teach you different games. Looking back when I was like, here's some games that I like.
We taught her all the games that we liked that she doesn't like. It was a mistake. We needed more information before we started teaching
I
you
know,
games.
you're gonna love this. Oh.
It's a very satisfying little engine building game where you're using these cards. They're multi. This wasn't already on your list, was it?
I don't believe so.
I don't
I don't
think
believe so.
so.
Okay, yeah.
Because I would have made a
I was
comment
like,
about
I like him
teaching
more
it.
than
Yeah.
I had a weird deja vu moment. I was like, no, I don't think Wendy's talking about this. Anyway,
I was
so
like, I was pretty sure
multi-use
fire.
cards. You're trying to use these cards either as resources or to be able to build them, turn them into money. I like multi-use cards as a mechanism. I think that that's very fun. These have the little production chain, whereas you make a series of buildings that make sense. You can murder a cow. You could grow a cow.
What?
You can nicely murder it and turn it
eat
into.
it?
You can turn it into leathers and meats, and so it's got a good little production chain thing going on, and it feels like a bigger game,
Multiple use
all in a
cats.
deck of cards.
Multiple use
You make
cash.
shoes out of it later.
Multi-use cows is my favorite game mechanism. Yeah, I like
That's
so
the
much.
Clans
about
of
this one.
Caledonia expansion.
You can also get
Yeah.
milk and cheese from them.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
Graham
just
crackers,
I think that's all we need. We need
chocolate, marshmallows.
Yeah, a cat
some
tech
good
tree,
beef
like you learn different
stew.
skills. See,
Milk,
this is how you
chocolate,
should have
you
taught
know.
me this. Taught me this game.
Tacos,
Like this is where you went wrong.
You like
Multi-use
murdering
cows.
cows, Camilla? Oh my good, it's my
Oh my
63.
That's such a good game, and yes, it will probably be on my list
No.
in the future.
Shock.
My number 63 is one that I definitely see rising. I do not have very many plays of this game at all, so it's one that was a very recent introduction, and so it's one that is here, and I think it surprised me that it's this high with so little that I've played it, but I really, really liked what it was doing and where it's going. So my number 63 is Sorcerer.
Ooh.
And Sorcerer.
That's cool looking.
Isn't that cool looking? Wow. It's so purple. Look at it.
Like lightning zapping
dark.
that werewolf.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yes. So in Sorcerer, you are a sorcerer, haha, and there are different locations that you are trying to conquer. All right. So each you have two people, and they're each. I don't know if I think it plays up to 4 maybe, but anyway, I played it at 2. You are trying to overtake these different locations, all right? And you do that by, you have your deck of cards, and you have energy each round, and you choose how to spend that energy back and forth. So you'll take a turn spending energy, the other person will take a turn spending energy back and forth. And as you use that energy to either draw cards or to play cards or enact special powers, things like that. And so you take the turn spending your energy until you pass, and you play out cards on these different locations well, let's go with that. On these different locations. Then you go into the second phase, which is the battle phase, and each of you, the two players, battle back and forth. Your minions will go against each other, and you roll some dice and assign the damage, and kind of last man standing. And that damage can either go to the town or the location, or it can go to your different minions that are out. And it's kind of that whoever claims 2 of the 3 locations first wins. And I think it's really, really neat. There's some neat deck building and some deck building in the game, not in the game, but beforehand when you're constructing your character. And I really like that aspect. I like that push and pull aspect. To those 2-player games, I like that push and pull where you always feel like you're in it and you're trying to set it up, well, and put yourself in a good position. It's a little bit defensive, but it's a lot offensive as well. And there's just so much neat things about this game, and it feels very custom when you're playing it, and it has a lot of I think different strategies. Again, are you going to go hard on one location or kind of spread it out? Are you going to go really high defensive? And just a really interesting decision space in this. And I really, really enjoyed it. I can see it rising a lot with more plays, but just not there yet. Haven't had an opportunity to play it as much. So I really enjoy it.
I remember when me and Z played this the first time. I think we were streaming it live and the power went out. It was like a Doctor Strange situation.
Ooh,
Fantastic.
creepy, awesome.
Yes, see?
But yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
it's a fun one.
Did you
This
use
is
your
a-
lightning powers to bring the electricity back on?
I think Z did something. I don't remember what he was doing, but he
Z
played
has
some combo
lightning
of
powers. I'm
cards
sorry,
and
I
then
got it wrong.
And then it just, I can see that. Yeah.
You said this is a pretty new game.
I think it was like 2000. I I know it's newer. I mean, definitely
You
newer
could
than like
convince me that
5
it's not.
tribes.
It's
5 tribes. I
not
want to say like
super
2018,
new.
19,
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
You could
So
convince
I
me
think-
that this came out 15 years ago.
I think it's
like the way that those
2019.
cards look and
Yeah,
everything.
I can see that.
I think it's
I can see-
2019.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
Okay,
So,
interesting.
anyway, yeah, I really like this one. I want to play it more so that it can go higher.
Nice.
63, Sorcerer.
All right, my 63 is Azul Stained Glass of Sintra. This is my favorite Azul game.
In your
So
face,
this is
Mike!
also known as Azul 2, which is what I mostly call it because I don't know why they don't number them. But in this game, you are collecting your cute little starburst looking pieces and you're putting them on your stained glasses. You're building a lovely stained glass thing. But what is really cool about it is that on your board, you have this little glazier guy. I don't know what a glazier is or what they do, but they do something with windows and stained glasses, and that's important. And you move him
they
over
glaze it.
as you want to fill in your little columns with your pieces. Because once you fill them in, you get to take one off, put it at the bottom, and it kind of upgrades in points and stuff. But what's really cool is you can only move him over unless you skip a turn to move him back. So it's very typewritery. And so you have to kind of plan it out. You're like, oh, in this area I need a lot of yellows, so I'm going to get some yellows, but I can't quite finish it. Do I want to wait around for another yellow, or do I want to keep moving over? And then I can't finish that yellow until I'm ready to skip a whole turn and move all the way back. And so I find that's a very cool push and pull, and it makes me really enjoy this particular Azul game, even more than the other ones.
This is my favorite of the Azuls. I was really sad when I was rating my games. I was like, I want to put this on the list, but it just didn't make it. So I'm really glad that you put it on here so we can make fun of Mike, because this is the best Azul.
Oh, does Mike not like this one?
Oh,
He said it makes him
Did you
like
not hear
Azul
the
less.
scoffing from behind the camera back
I
there?
didn't know this, Mike. We're no longer friends. It's over
I
between
mean,
us.
were you really before? I mean,
You were friends. You were
I mostly hit him with my chair
Stretch.
all the time.
Oh my god.
I stand up all the time. Always hitting him.
Oh my gosh, I would kick you.
No, I don't actually. But I hope I don't
Does
actually.
she, Mike? It's okay. Blink once if she hits you regularly.
rudeness.
Think twice
Rudeness.
if there's abuse. No, so that's my number 63 is Azul Stained Glass of Sintra.
My number 63 very much matches Wendy's shirt as a Tiny Epic game. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. This is Zelda, or Tiny Epic Quest. Zelda Tiny Epic Quest.
Off-brand Zelda.
Okay, but yeah, so basically this is a game where you have 3 little worker guys that are out there. They're, I guess, little elf, like Zelda type characters, and they're going to be moving around to different areas to basically complete different things, whether it's going into dungeons and trying to collect these cool different items. This is the first game that had the item meeples in it, and the different items are going to help you
so
be able
fun.
to do more stuff in the game, and I love how they pop into the different characters and things like that as you unlock them. There's a little bit of like racing your opponents in those dungeons as well to kind of like you move your character faster than them. It's like, oh, I'm going to try to get to the end before you can, so that way I can get that item before you can. And certain people are going to want different items to be able to complete stuff to get points. But then there's also a practice your luck phase, like during the night phase, where you're rolling dice, trying to not roll too many of like the goblin symbols and things like that to mess things up. I've had a blast with Tiny Epic Quest, and it's really fun. I know some people get thrown off by the fact that like there's a movement card that people pick, and you have to pick one of your 3 people to kind of like do that movement. But I've had a lot of fun with it, and it's just really enjoyable. And I mean, the theme doesn't hurt, even though it's off-brand Zelda. I just kind of like, it's charming, I guess, and I love the different items and things
Zelda.
like that. So
this is my
it's fun.
favorite of the Tiny Epics.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. So
Okay.
it's pretty cool. So that is my 63 Tiny Epic Quest.
Doo-doo-doo.
Songs.
All right. My number 62 was 52 before. Oh my goodness, my last pick was actually 51 before. So these like to keep it in the family. My number 62 is the oldest game on my list, Manhattan. This is a game that Camilla.
Oh, I despise this game.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I forgot about it for like a glorious week.
A glorious few, yeah.
And now it's back.
This is such a great game. This is
False.
designed by Andreas
Lies.
Seyfarth.
I have mixed
true.
feelings about this game.
I don't.
I love it. So, it's designed by the same designer as Puerto Rico, and I don't know, something about this is a really, really smooth little game. It is one of the smoothest, simplest games out there. You play a card in your turn. It says you can build a building in the bottom left, or the middle right, or the top middle, or something like that, and you can choose which type of piece, 1, 2, 3, or 4 stories you want to put out. You get benefits for having the. If you have the top piece of a skyscraper, you have control of it. If you control the highest skyscraper at the scoring phase, you get some points. If you control the most skyscrapers in a little square region, you get some points. and then you get points for just controlling any number of skyscrapers. You get 1 point per. I think that it's kind of a mix between area control a little bit, but with also just some very simple little card play. And there's so many different areas you can play into, and I really like it. It's so smooth. This particular printing here by Mandu Games is really, really gorgeous, and I like the funky, bright poppy look of it too.
Does it depend on which side of the board you sit on for your specific cards? Or?
Yeah, so you and I are sitting opposite each other. My card says bottom left.
Yours would be.
Then
If I had the exact same card, it would be the opposite.
it'd be
Right,
your
exact
bottom
order.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting little touch. It's just kind of random in my opinion, but you're playing with what cards you have, and you're trying to make the best little board state for you as you know that scoring round is getting closer. I love it a lot, and I will happily teach this at any convention because
And
it's
you're
so
saying
smooth.
build roofs on top of every single one of Camilla's buildings that she's currently on top of.
Smash.
I was so
Get
angry during this play.
This game makes me feel stupid. Like, I think
Really?
that I just, there's something about it that I don't understand, which is why I have mixed feelings, because I think it's very intriguing mechanically, but I don't know what it is. I think Chris is
This
just
makes me want to
great at
Chris
kick puppies or
describing it, I
something.
was like, oh, I get that, and I understand it. Like, I don't know.
like-
Chris
Chris and
weird.
Roy can play this game.
I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. Like
I'll
area
go play
control where you're
Flurfist
trying to
with you.
stack
Thank
on
you.
top of the
Yes,
other
yes.
players
Yes,
based off of spatial awareness.
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah.
simple.
It's
Yeah.
awful.
I don't know.
Loathe it.
Messing with my brain.
I love it. That's my 62.
And it's so
I've
pretty
never
too.
played
Like,
it.
you know, why are you
It
gonna
is
rub me in
cool.
with something that looks like this good, and then
I could show you the original.
Show me this game.
The original printing
That would,
is
yeah. Then,
hideous.
then I
It was-
okay. All right. That's
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this. Oh my gosh.
I'll do you that
I-
solid later.
Thank you. Yeah. Solidified that I despise that game. My number 62 is a roll and write.
Are you
Not my
sure?
last one.
Are you sure?
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
It's like, how do you not know if it's a roll and right, Camilla?
I don't remember my 62. I don't know this game. No. My number 62 is Lanterns, Dice, Lights in the Sky, I think is the subtitle. Lights in the Sky, yeah. So this is a roll and write version of a bigger game, which is still a pretty small game, I think, but Lanterns,
Yeah.
Dice. So you are each, I don't know culturally where they're from. Anyway, you're putting lanterns out in a pond, and you have 4 dice that have different colors on them, and you roll them in this tray, and in the tray they'll end up forming a 2x2 cube, and so that goes in the middle of the table, and you can rotate that to put one of those dice towards you, and that's the color that you get to fill in your pond on your player board here, and then everyone else will do the same. So you have the choice of what color do you want. What?
Some of the comments, some of the chat said, "Is it a roll and wrong?"
Yeah. And so then you will fill in your color, and as you fill in those colors, you're going to get different special bonuses. Like in a lot of, if you finish one square, maybe you get a or a coin, which then you can use to get a king's favor and take another special action. And as you complete special patterns, you will throw off the fireworks, light the fireworks, and that's the little tiles you see in here, the polyominoes that you'll put down in there, which are end-game points. So you're trying to complete pawns complete different shapes, but also fill in squares and make different pawns and little subgroups. As in every game we talk about, most points wins, right? So I really like this idea of you're filling stuff in, and that, again, that decision space of what are you going to fill in and what to trigger what, because you can kind of combo those together, and with one color, maybe take 3 or 4 different actions, and I like that, and I like that you, again, with a lot of roll and writes, that simultaneous play, you're always doing something on every turn. So yeah, it's a little bit, I don't want to say more involved, because I really think it's still a pretty simple, straightforward game, but with that whole coloring things in to complete, and then you actually have the physical polyominoes that you're also putting on, and vying for those get less valuable the longer you wait, so am I going to finish this pawn and get this polyomino, or do this special action that's going to combo 3 in a row, so a little bit of, not press your luck, but just timing that you have to think about as well, I really enjoy the decision space of that. So my number 62 is Lanterns, Dice, subtitle.
So it's the theme that gets you on this one.
Absolutely the theme. Absolutely. No, it's the fireworks. Fire!
Roll and wrong.
Fireworks.
You played the original. I like the. I think I like the.
haven't.
Okay.
No, I haven't played the original.
Yeah, we just tried this one. I think I like the
Okay.
original a lot more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, my number 62 is, excuse me, is a game that used to be one of my most favorite games of all time a few years ago, but I've played it so much that I feel like there's no more to explore, so I've had to move it down on my list. But this is Dead of Winter.
Oh.
I really, really love so much about this game, and if The Long Night was a better game, it would have moved up on my list, I'm sure. But the second edition
would be higher on my list.
No, the second version of it, I was disappointed by what they changed. But this game I love. So you are, zombie apocalypse happened, you're in a colony of people trying to survive, it's winter, it sucks, there's no food, and you're constantly starving, you're constantly trying to get weapons and stuff so you can survive, you're getting cold, damage, and frostbite, and all that stuff. So it's very, very high thematic. It's a very cool cooperative game. But everybody has their little ticks. Everybody has something that's wrong with them because they've experienced this very traumatic event of, zombie apocalypse. It happens. And also someone might be a betrayer, you don't know. And they could be trying to destroy the colony because terribleness. And so I think this is so much fun. Chris and I played this a lot at 2 players where you don't play with a betrayer, but you play on like the super, super hard mode.
Oh,
and that probably is my most favorite way to play because I'm one of those people that's terrible at being a betrayer. I'm awful at that, like, I'm going to be good until I'm bad and somehow win. I don't have those skills is basically what I'm saying. But this game is great and it's fun if someone else is a betrayer, basically. I'm cool with that. But yeah, I love it. I love so much about it. I love being able to go to the different locations and search through the decks, and I really enjoy the way that dice are used. Because in Dead of Winter, you roll dice, and then based on those numbers, you then allocate what they do. But there's a lot of actions that don't require a specific numerical value. So if you have really low numbers that don't let you search and they don't let you fight, you can still build barricades and protect things. And so I love that. What were you going to say, Roy?
I was going to say, I really enjoy, too, the fact that, like, there are different objectives that you kind of have to do each round, and people are, like, putting in those cards. So it feels like Battlestar Galactica-ish or whatever, as it's like, oh, people put a bunch of cards in there. Oh, who put this in there? We didn't need this. Like, what's going on with this? We have a betrayer in here who's messing things up. That's really fun.
But everybody's acting weird because, like, maybe I need to hoard food, and we're starving, but I'm like, I can't win unless I hoard food, so I'm not putting food in there.
Yep.
Like, we all die, or I win.
But the betrayer has to do their objective too, so it's kind of like they might be helping out in weird ways on purpose, like at first, because they have to fulfill theirs before they can start messing things up.
Yeah.
So
It's a great game. It's just fallen off my list because we just played it so much, and I don't know, over familiarity with it almost. You're like, got it, you're doing this thing. That's your secret objective.
Yeah.
I think this is a game
I didn't even realize you guys had played it that much. That's crazy.
Oh, we played it a
lot.
ton. I think this is a game that I would love to teach a group of people and then, like, pop back in and see how they're doing and see how much fun they're having.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Like, it's such
a
big game and it's hard to teach a lot of people because it's just it's very involved. But yeah, being that person that's like, oh, you went to the police station and you found the light air fluid. I'm so excited you're gonna go blow some zombies up. Like,
they made that version of the game where you played with both together and then it was warring colonies where you battle against. I don't know anybody who played that, but
I don't know anybody that played that.
Yeah.
It's gigantic.
It's super intensive. Yeah.
If you want it to be crazy epic, you can
This
make
is
it
one when
happen.
Roy had it on his list. I said it was my 101, and so it's not going to be on my list. And I think it would go up with more play. But I feel like it's kind of like a lot of people have cooled on it. You know, like you were saying, like you love it, but I want to teach and then
So
just pop back
overplayed.
in.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean? And so it's kind of overplayed. So it's one of those like finding, it's one of those, everyone loves it, but no one's playing it.
Yeah, there's just because there's
I'll play
like
it.
5 or 6 scenarios, and once you play those 5 or 6
Right.
scenarios, you kind
That
of get
makes
the feel
sense.
for the game. So
Right.
So that's my number 62 is Dead of Winter.
My number 62 is a kind of like resource management game where you have cards and you're just trying to get to a certain number of points, and that is Res Arcana. I really like this game just because like the kind of like the combos you kind of build up with the cards that you're playing out is really intriguing and interesting as you're trying to get specific elements and resources to be able to play out the specific cards you need to get points. And then there's certain cards you kind of like vie for, like different ways to get points that you're trying to buy as well. And it's basically like a race to I think like 10 points, and whoever gets to 10 points first wins the game. There's a lot going on in this game for like relatively few components. It's mostly just maximizing those resources and moving those things around in the right way and having the different card combos on there. And then there's sometimes like dragon cards that you can end up messing up somebody else's stuff a little bit here and there. I really enjoy Res Arcana and the way you can kind of manipulate those resources throughout the game. And I've had a blast playing this throughout my plays, and it's just really fun and a game that I continue to go back to and have fun with. So have any of you played Res Arcana?
I have, and I'm kind of I'm in the Mike camp where I think it's fine.
You got
He's giving a
thumb down
huge
behind
thumbs
the
thumbs
camera.
down.
Z on my side. Z's on my side. So
Yeah, it's all right, but I haven't played it where you draft your hand of cards.
Gotcha, yeah,
'cause,
yeah.
I don't know. I think that would help it, but I'm also not itching to play it again.
I just really enjoy the whole converting of this to that to this to this and do the combo thing here and then 10 points, yeah. You know,
That's how Roy plays the game. It's actually
That's
that
how I play the
fast.
Min-max, baby. Min-max.
you got to make it happen. So yeah, 62 Res Arcana.
All right, my number 61, closing out this list. This is a classic game. I absolutely love this one. At one point, it was my number 12.
Oh wow.
And so it's one of those games, once again, I think just a lot of familiarity. We've been playing it for years. This is Istanbul. I really like this game, and it almost surprises me seeing this at as low as 61, even though, let's be honest, 61 is...
Trash. I'm sorry, garbage.
Garbage, yeah.
Garbage.
Yeah, this is fancy.
Used for steam. That's all it's worth.
Yeah, burn it.
Make
It's like the
steam.
top layer of coal.
Yeah, exactly. Just dynamite straight through that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Istanbul as a game is you have a stack of discs and you're moving them around a market and you're leaving one disc behind every action space you go to. You're breadcrumbing it like Hansel and Gretel. But you can come back later to that same action space and pick up that disc. And so it's such a fun little breadcrumb mechanism. It's I don't know. It's people kind of call it like a worker placement, worker movement-ish game, and I can see what they mean by that. It is a lot of fun because you're trying to collect things and trade them in for rubies. First person to get 5 rubies or 6 rubies is the winner. And so there's no counting of victory points. There's not any of that stuff. It's just trying to be the most efficient and have fun racing around this market. There's a few small little gambling mechanisms in it that I think are super fun. I really love this game. And I don't know, we just played it so much, though, that I think it's kind of settled into like a comfortable zone for me. I'm no longer like itching to play it all the time, but I also have so much fun every time I play it. 61, Istanbul.
It's a good game.
I explained it so well, everybody was stunned.
Done.
Stunned.
It's not that Camilla's looking at it going,
I definitely
please never make
wasn't.
me play this!
Yeah, I definitely was not trying to act engaged.
No,
with that.
I really like that game. Really like
I
Istanbul.
know nothing about it, so yeah. Also, my 61 is very different. My it's so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. My 61 is Unsettled. I just want to put it out there. It's Unsettled. I love this game.
Nice.
It's so much fun. So in Unsettled, you are a group of people, astronauts that have gone to a foreign planet, and in some scenarios you crash, and some you haven't, but you're there and you're trying to complete this objective, and so you're on your ship and you have to get out and complete objectives, and most of them get back and do something, and it is cooperative, and it has some of the best writing, like for a narrative game as you go, because you have this booklet kind of it's this book of cards, and you complete one, you flip over to the next one. Some of the best writing, and these games, if it's gonna have that narrative, there's such a sweet spot of like not taking yourself too seriously, but also just an edge that you have to walk. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And this game just nailed it. It is so funny. Like every time I've played it, we just really get into the theme and the narrative of it, because it's hilarious, and it's always like, oh, turn it over so we can read the next one, what happens, and it's just because we've had other games that we played, where one specific example, like, oh, and you get vomit on you, it's awesome, dead silent, and it's like, what is that? No, and so this game is like the antithesis of that, and it's so much fun. It just oozes theme in it.
It vomits that theme all over you.
And it's
All
awesome.
over you.
It's great.
Wait, which game are we talking about now?
Yeah, sorry, back to Unsettled. So you have these limited actions, and I like the dice that you use in these. So you never roll the dice, but it is the number of, I guess, kind of power that it has, and so each time you activate that die, it pips down. Goes from 3 to 2 to 1, and then after it is down to 1, it's completely dead until you recharge it. And so you have 3 things that you can do. So you only have three dice that you can use, but one of those has to be resting so that you can constantly at least keep one die, at least one action. So I think each of the planets that I've played are very, very different,
Right.
and
Yes.
very. But I've consistently enjoyed them. I found the consistency in the actions you can do. I found the consistency in the writing. It's not like, oh, they didn't put much effort into this one. I really enjoy this game. It's so much fun.
I really enjoy how highly cooperative it can be. Like, there's a lot
Yes.
of working together. Like, okay, I'm going to go here. What are you going to work on? I'm going to go over there.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't have enough of this color to do that. So you should go over there and say, okay, cool, I'll do this. You know.
And what's
we're all
also
working
about it is you
together.
only have those, I mean, I say 3 actions because of 3 dice, but really just 2 actions because
Right.
one has to be rest.
Yeah.
And that's, when you first play it, you're like, that's so limiting. But then once you get into that cooperation and you start realizing the different things you can do and the way you can build yourself up, I never felt like it didn't feel like I only had 2 things I was doing. You know, you're really feeling like you're doing a lot more than just 2 actions. So it's not like move and draw a card, but it's big actions that contribute to that storyline and contribute to that. You're always doing something. You know, and also
Right.
you have the robot that goes around, so that
I really like the
cooperation of like,
robot.
oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
so cute.
It
Robot's
is really
cool.
cute. I've soloed this
Got a
game,
dent.
and I got smashed because
Because you didn't utilize the robot.
Got
my,
to use the
my
robot.
brain is not big enough to like do all the stuff.
Do you need
So
my
I like the
hat?
cooperative nature where people's like, oh wait, okay, I'll do this on my turn and set you up and
Right.
to do that.
I'm going to push you 1 space so that way you can move 2 spaces.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm gonna drag you with me to this line. Yeah, I don't like this game. I love this game. Unsettled, my 61. I stayed sitting again.
Oh, congratulations. All right, my number 61 is a game that actually Zeke Garcia taught me at MeepleCon, which is the precursor to Dice Tower West. And this is
Name
Decrypto.
drop. Name dropping. Wendy.
Oh yeah. I rubbed shoulders with the mighty way back then. But Decrypto is a game where it goes up to 8 players, which is really fascinating because it's a very thinky game for that many players. But what you have is you have your screen in front of you, and you have 4 words, and your team knows what the 4 words are, but you have to give clues so that they can figure out what your sequence is. You have this hidden sequence in front of you that says like 1, 3, 4. So you have to give clues that they will understand to be able to guess what those words are and get the sequence correctly. However, the other team is hearing your clues every single time, and they get to know what the correct sequence is. And so they can start piecing together, oh, we're talking a lot about food and juice and sweet. I wonder if they're talking about something fruity or something like that. Like they might figure out your word, and if they do, they can actually like steal points and win the game and that kind of stuff. So it's very, very interesting how this like little clever word game is, because you have to think a couple steps out and make things not connect. Because as soon as you get those couple things that are similar, they zone in real quick and they're like, oh, I think that this has something to do with like candy or fruit or something like that. Like it's really cool. I really love Decrypto, and it's tons of fun. It is a bit much to teach that concept to a whole new group every time, so it's nice if you have a group of people that already know how to play it.
Yeah, I think that's what keeps it off my list, is it because it has that party game feel, and I'd put it in that, but it is kind of a difficult concept. You know, that
Yeah.
first game is always, that you play with new people, is always like clunky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But but that being
Yeah.
said, I really, really enjoy playing this game with people that know the game. You know,
Yeah.
but it's not one that I enjoy teaching or getting into with new people. It's like, I promise you'll like this one day, just stick with it. You
It's
know,
w-
and it kind of has that like, you can do it kind of feel the first play. But I really enjoy it.
It's one of the few I put in the category of word game, but not party game. Because it's not revelrous. It's not.
Right.
It's like,
But
okay,
it
we're gonna have a
fits the-
cerebral
but it
experience.
feels
It
that like
fits
that
the party game
Interesting.
amount of people though too,
Right.
which is which is
Yeah,
why
it
a little
fits-
confusing.
It fits that motif, but then like everyone's sitting there like really cerebral, like
Right.
Really thinking like, how do I?
Yeah.
But I really, really enjoy
It's great.
Decrypto.
Yeah, I definitely
So that's
enjoy
my
it.
number
It's good.
61.
My 61 is kind of a catch-all for a game, but I picked one specifically on here. This is Love Letter, but this is Love Letter Infinity Gauntlet is the one that I put on here. That's one that's a little bit more different than the other Love Letters, but I love all the Love Letters in general. I played a massive amount of Love Letter. I played it at like work back when I used to work at Target back in the day. I played with tons of people. I played with people all over the place. I played this game with my grandma. You know, I basically played this with everybody. It's a really easy game to get into. You can throw it down when you're playing it basically at like a restaurant and things like that. It's really quick playing. I also recently played the Star Wars version of the game with some new gamers who weren't really into board gaming, and it was a blast to play. It's just really easy to get into Love Lettering, kind of like trying to figure out like, oh, what card do they have in their hand? Oh, what are they playing? And Infinity Gauntlet is really fun because I really love Marvel, but then it takes it a step further and makes it where it's one versus many, where one person is playing Thanos and the other players are playing out these different heroes, and there's a little bit of a trying to knock the players out, and Thanos is trying to collect all the Infinity Stones, so it makes it a little bit more complex, but I kind of have all of the Love Letters lumped together, so I really enjoy Love Letter. It's a blast to play, and it's just really quick. I feel like it sometimes gets a bad rap because it's been rethemed so many different times. I
Sure.
played the Batman version on the cruise, like while we were waiting for dinner. You know, it's just fun to play.
It gets a bad rap for that? I didn't know that. Because I think that's really cool that it has so many different things. Because I think it.
Well, people are just like, oh, another love letter. Oh, another love letter. I played
It's a
the
little bit of
Jabba's
that, like,
Palace
cash
one
cow, like-
recently.
I can see that.
I played the
I
Jabba's
get it.
Palace one
Okay,
recently, and it's
yeah.
just a very slight tweak on it where you have like the Hutt stuff and then the rebellion, and it made it. It's like a really interesting game. It's really compelling. It's
Yeah.
still very much still love letter.
As well,
but
if it's still the same game. I mean, it appeals to your different taste. You know
Right,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I think
Yeah.
I don't know.
You bet.
Does the
I wasn't
Marvel
about
one
that.
do anything different than the base love letter game?
It definitely is. It's probably one of the most different out of love letters in general because it's that
Okay.
one versus many. One player has a deck that's like their Thanos deck, and the other players are drawing from a
Oh, okay.
hero's deck. Also, the game doesn't end when that hero deck runs out. They still keep cycling through that deck until they either defeat Thanos or Thanos is able to defeat them by getting like all the Infinity Stones out. If Thanos goes through his whole deck, he's going to have all the stones in his discard pile and win the game. So you're kind of like messing it up in different ways. So it's very different.
That's wild. 'Cause it doesn't sound anything like love letter.
It
to me,
doesn't,
You
yeah.
know,
But it still feels
But it's that similar
two
card
cards in your
play.
hand. You draw a card. A lot of there's like extra versions of like the one that's like the card that's normally like a 3 card, but it's different strengths in this where it's like, oh, you play it and you compare hands. You know,
Yeah.
it's very very similar in general to it. It's a different game, yes, but also has very much the same sort of feel. You know.
I'd like to try that one then because I've enjoyed every version of Love Letter I've ever played. You know, Lovecraft Letter is kind of like probably the oddest one, the most different I've played. The Star Wars one's great. Batman, basic. They're all solid games.
Yep.
I like the Plain Jane the most. Like, well, I play the Batman version of the Plain Jane, but yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I
I'm
like
pretty
them all.
indifferent on it, but I'd be interested in the Lovecraft one again because of theme.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. You should try the Lovecraft one. It's really solid.
Okay, you could teach it to me,
I could.
and then I'll hate it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Wendy, why don't you teach it to her?
She's gonna hate it, not me. That's fine.
Yeah.
We're good.
All right, 10 more down, and then
Look at
today
that list for
is
tomorrow.
today
It's
is
gonna be good.
Tuesday. What day is today?
Today's
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Today is Tuesday.
Because tomorrow is what? Sushi day. How could you forget?
The
Tomorrow's
best day
Sushi
of the
Day.
week.
sushi.
But
$5
also-
sushi on day 3.
But also tomorrow is going to be our numbers.
Less than today.
So whatever 10 lessons it is,
51
60.
through
60 through 51. So make sure to come back at noon. Later this afternoon, we're going to have Shoots and Marbles.
Yes, got that coming
Is
up.
that at 2 or 3 o'clock?
3
At 3
o'clock.
And it's the
o'clock.
Return of the Horde or something like that, didn't I?
Oh,
what
is
I
it
saw?
really? Yes. All right. So if you enjoyed this, we'll make sure to come join back tomorrow and stick around for other live stuff. Any other great thoughts on today's list? I thought that I did a great job.
I'm really
pretty
proud
good.
of you, Chris.
I think you did a good impersonation of yourself. That was what I took away from it.
I think you did a terrible impersonation of Mike DeLisi.
I wasn't going to be so
It's
negative.
a modern classic.
I think I'm ready to be friends again, Mike.
Okay. All right. Sounds
easy.
good. We'll stop passive aggressively hitting your chair. Until next time, my name is Chris Yi.
I'm Roy Cannaday.
I'm Wendy Yi.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
Have fun vomiting out theme all over your game.
The best.